Apple TV Plus, Silo, Shrinking, and more. This is Mac Voices. Today's Mac Voices is supported by MacVoices After Dark. Uncensored, off-topic, and always off the wall. MacVoices After Dark is available as a benefit to our Patreon subscribers. Sign up at patreon.com/MacVoices. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, if you didn't see the last episode of Mac Voices, this is just a quick note to let you know that the audio and video, my individual audio and video for this show is not terrific. A few minutes before recording time, my recording iMac crashed, the Fusion drive died, and has stayed dead. So if you have an aging iMac, you may want to pay attention to that and make sure you have good backups. Everybody else sounds fine in this discussion, so bear with me. This hopefully won't happen again. This time, the panel takes on Apple TV Plus, one of the hit shows that was a little bit of a surprise to a lot of us, one that probably wasn't much of a surprise given the backing and the stars. And we just talk about the content that is available in Apple TV Plus and why we don't always know about it like we should. Let's go back and let the panel do the talking.
Next item I had, I am sorry, guys. Everything is just completely discombobulated here. I'm just not where I want to be.
Mercury must be in retrograde still. Always.
I don't know. Now I can't find the chat. Even though it says I have the chat open, there's the chat. Okay. So this is from 9 to 5 Mac. This says that the Apple TV Plus program Silo became the #1 streaming movie show. And I believe, if memory serves, Ted Lasso was #3. So, but at the end of the day, the order doesn't matter. Apple TV Plus is really killing it as far as, having great shows out there that seem to be widely popular, not just niche shows. So I'm just curious. I mean, how many people here are watching Silo?
I haven't started that one yet.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's really a great show.
Mm-hmm.
I must be in a special mood because I almost didn't watch episode 3. It's like I got to the end of the second episode and I wanted 2 hours of my life back. But I watched episode 3 because enough people said you need to watch it. And Patrice Brendamore said that she thought it was supposed to be dropped as 3 episodes at once, which if that had happened, I wouldn't have felt as disappointed as I did after the first 2 episodes, because episode 3 really made a lot of changes as far as just how the story was going. The last episode I thought was fine. It was nice entertainment. I don't know. Okay, here's the deal. The fact that I'm not enjoying this show as much as everyone else is totally fine, because what it says is that Apple is really good at having a diverse collection of content so that they can appeal to a much wider audience. And that's more important than me liking Silo as much as everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I wasn't sure I was going to start it yet. I was going to keep it lower on the watch list. And I thought, well, because sooner or later we'll probably be talking about it if it does anything decent. The first episode was okay. The second was okay. I'm with you, Jeff. By the third episode, then I was really into it. And I'm being very careful here not to give any spoilers, but I would say that if you're going to sample it, go to the end of the 3 episodes and then decide if it's for you. But I
agree.
I really think you will. I think there's enough meat there. And I don't know about you guys, but I confess I'm a bit burned out on the whole post-apocalyptic thing. But this felt like a little... Yeah, but this felt like a little bit of a fresh take. And that's why I really have enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to, getting to the next episode, and seeing, where they take it all. Ben?
Yeah. Episodes 1 and 2 are more like a preamble to the series than the series.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'll accept that.
Can you skip ahead and just start with 3?
No,
you
because,
can't.
because then you won't know
Unfortunately.
what the heck is going on.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Maybe read the synopsis.
Yeah.
Well, this apparently is based on a series of books that I was not familiar with at all.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it's from an author who self-published the set of books. So it's the Silo series, and the book series, which apparently I bought and had totally forgotten about. So I guess I better read it. People loved the I guess it's like novellas. And yeah, people loved those. And from what I'm hearing, the TV series is better than the books. So that they're telling the story better on screen than it was in the books.
Which is unusual.
It happens sometimes.
And you do not have to have read the books to understand the series.
Which is also unusual.
and having only watched the series, I can't say that I can't compare the two, but I'm really loving the series. I'm really loving the series. Since we're on Apple TV, I'm curious about two things. First of all, has anybody watched or is working their way through Shrinking?
I watched the whole thing.
I watched it all.
Oh my God, so
okay.
good.
Everyone
I almost
tells
gave
me I
up
need to
on it.
Watch it.
I almost gave up on it on the first episode. The whole pool scene, I was like, oh, for God's sake. You know,
you have the, yeah.
And it just, it just didn't ring with me. And the first scenes with the three major characters just seemed, to me, just seemed forced.
Mhm.
But as the second and third and fourth episodes came across, the way they started to kind of gel, because basically all three of these characters are going through major transitions in their lives. And it just so happens that as these transitions are taking place, they're kind of interwoven with one another, including all of the supporting cast as well. And I just found that it was fascinating to watch. And yeah, there were some super cringe moments that I was just kind of like, like the piano scene, for example. It was kind of like, wow, really? Okay. You're going to go there. All right. But for the most part, I was very happy to hear that there's going to be a second season, because it was just overall that good.
What you said? You've seen the whole series?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, couple. Let me go back to Silo for just a second. Normally, when I watch a TV show, I don't make up my mind on the first episode. First episode is you're trying to figure out who the characters are and what the plot development is. But if they don't get me by the end of the second episode, I probably will give up on it. So that's why I got to give Silo, when I do get to watch that. I got to give that a chance after the third episode. I think that there's probably a story development issue here, that they should have gotten to the intriguing part at the second episode. So as far as Shrinking goes, I watched the whole thing. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed the last episode when it kind of tied everything into a knot, and really liked that a lot. So,
that last scene.
Yeah.
Wow. And you could see it coming from a mile away, and it was still like, is she going to really do that? Is she? Mm-hmm. And it was just so good and so satisfying. Same thing. I don't know if anyone here has watched Tulsa King. I know this is not like the streaming. Yeah, and I'm not a huge Sylvester Stallone fan. However, that was a show that did hook me on the very first episode.
Me too. That was a great show.
And he was the perfect ex-gangster. And the interweavings between the New York family and them basically exiling him out in the middle of freaking nowhere.
Tulsa.
and him just kind of going, "Okay, this is where I'm gonna. This is where I'm gonna be." And terrible Sylvester Stallone imitation, but he literally walked into a pot shop and was like, "Okay, I'm taking over." And everybody was just like, "You can't." Oh, I guess you just did. And the way it just kind of built up, and even the violence did not feel gratuitous. It felt like, okay, well, there's a lot of stuff that's been simmering under the surface for 18 to 25 years, and it's now all coming to a head. So, yeah, considering the background of these people and what was at stake as far as money and power goes, it's not a surprise that it kind of went the way it did.
I'll go back to shrinking real quick, guys. I know that's where you brought on topic here, Chuck. But I really love that the character Gabby was played by Jessica Williams. She was just phenomenal in that show. And Harrison Ford just knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. I mean, I think that he made the show in itself. Once you were past the first episode, I got the feeling that he was not invested in that show until he got to see some of the further scripts on, and then he was like, "Oh, okay, I really like this, and I'm gonna be Harrison Ford, the famous movie actor, and just do this really well," and he did.
Guy, that's kind of the way I felt, but I attributed it to the writing, not as much to Harrison.
The writing made a difference.
Oh, the writing was excellent.
Yeah, but it just felt like he was sort of a bit player to start with, and then you kind of settled in on his character a little and understood what was going on.
Yeah. Well, when you consider that he was basically the main character's name, Gamet.
Seagal?
Yeah, Jimmy.
His name is Dammit.
I know.
Jason Seagal.
God, his parents really hated him. He was basically, Jimmy's therapist at the same time that he was kind of performing a similar service to Jimmy's daughter, because they were so far apart in everything that was going on. And, I'm trying to be as careful as I can in talking about the show. Because there are so many potential spoilers there. But if anyone who's watching this or listening to this being rebroadcast, if you looked at the image of Shrinking, the one that they show you on Apple TV with Harrison Ford and the
Jason Seagal.
Jason Seagal. Yeah. That did not draw me into the series at all. I basically was like, I'll give this a chance. And once I did, I was very glad that I did so, because it was just such a good series.
I mean, even all the other supporting characters too. I mean, Ted McGinley was
hardly even recognized him.
You didn't even recognize him. We all know who he was. Where he's all the stuff he's done. He really, I thought, stood out a little bit too, and it was kind of funny. So,
and his wife, I can't think of the actress that plays his wife. She was so good as well.
Yeah, Krista Miller,
and super annoying at the same time.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't the show based on two different writing projects? One was more serious in tone, and one was more whimsical.
That's what Brett Goldstein had said.
Brett Goldstein and David Lawrence. So,
aren't they having like writers' problems with each other right now, or was that a different series I was thinking of?
I think you might be thinking of Severance.
Severance.
There's lots of writing problems going on.
I love
the strike.
Lots of writing problems going on.
To say the least.
Well, there's no writing problems.
Right. There's no writing.
I tried watching Severance, and I kind of got bored with it by the third or fourth episode, so I didn't go back to it.
And I didn't get into it either. Yeah.
And see, this validates what I said earlier, because I was engrossed with Severance from the first episode. I mean, it hooked me and kept me.
It did to me too.
Yeah. For me, I was lukewarm the first half of the season, but my God, the second half paid off in spades.
It was going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's better have a season 2.
And I find it really interesting, because how many of you are super enthusiastic about Shrinking, because I enjoyed it, and I'll probably get around to watching season 2. And there were definitely moments. I mean, there's no question about it. There were definitely moments that were spectacular, but it was a little bit too much. And this is almost heresy, and I realize that. But it at times it felt like the first season of Ted Lasso, in that it was just a one-liner every minute.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that felt like most of what Ted Lasso season 1 was. It was fine, and then the thing was, it was like Rodney Dangerfield. They were all great one-liners, but they were still one-liners.
No respect.
No respect.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Yeah,
Take my wife, please.
We are all so old because
We are.
we all know. Yeah.
Come on, I crack up with Rodney anytime I watch the old videos of him.
Yeah, well, how can you
him
not?
on Carson was just so good.
I
Yeah.
watch those all the time.
This edition of Mac Voices is supported by our Patreon subscribers and MacVoices After Dark. Ever wonder what happens before the Mac Voices live shows? Or what happens when the show ends or after the live feed closes? That's where Mac Voices After Dark comes in. If you are a Patreon supporter at any level, you get access to the video of our off-camera conversations. Uncensored, unedited, and always off the wall. It's a small thank you to our Patreon supporters who want to peek behind the curtain. Become a Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/MacVoices. And thanks to everyone who supports the show.
So the second question for Apple TV Plus, I know there's certain shows that it seems like everybody's seen. Has anybody watched the movie? Oh, great! I just lost the name of it. Sharper.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Which one?
Sharper.
Yes, that was
Yeah,
great.
I did.
Sharper?
I haven't seen
Sharper.
it.
Sharper.
I'd watch it again. It was fantastic.
I thought it was. I'm with you. I thought it was great. Eric, did I see you shaking your head? Yes or no?
No, but I'm writing a bunch of things down because now I have to get caught up on 2 series and a movie evidently.
Yeah, Sharper.
Sounds good.
I mean, as much as I like.
How have I not heard about this until
I
now?
know.
This is a discovery problem that Apple has.
I hadn't heard about it when I watched it, and then was like, just saw it on there. And
What was the premise?
Let's watch this. I'm like, what is that?
Julianne Moore and John Lithgow.
I don't even remember, but I remember.
I remember seeing the commercials.
And the cool thing is, it goes backwards.
Yes,
so
and
it's
it also
really cool the way they kind of reveal,
But Jim, did you feel like I did? Like you didn't necessarily see what was coming?
Not at all. Yeah, it was
good.
It was like, whoa.
Yeah,
it starts off like, it seems like it wound up something completely not what it started out. It was one of the most, really original the way it was done, and the way it revealed itself, and you just had no idea what was coming next.
But looking at the cast in this movie, I mean, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
How have I not heard about this? I haven't seen a commercial for it on Apple TV. I haven't seen any, when they do the splash screen
I watched it a while ago too. Seems like it's been a couple months since I saw it.
This.
Yeah,
I'm with you on it, Jeff. I didn't really see much of it.
Yeah, Jeff, I think that it feels like there's only so much bandwidth out there for promotion of any shows, Apple TV shows or otherwise, at least within the channels we all operate on. And for whatever reason, this just got overlooked in favor of Shrinking, Severance, Ted Lasso, et cetera, Tetris.
Tetris.
But
still,
but this, what?
The Michael J. Fox documentary.
Documentary,
yes.
yeah, I saw that.
Yes. But
Haven't seen it yet.
I would tell anybody that give this movie about through the first act, and you'll know what I mean by that once you do it. And then if you're not hooked by then
blame Chuck.
There's no hope for you. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what's amazing is the fact that we're having this conversation. I would say just this conversation itself about Apple TV's Plus's service wasn't too long ago, where we said, the downfall of not having a back catalog and not enough content. Now we're talking about so much content that
can't watch it all.
Oh yeah, that's on there. I didn't even see that. I didn't even know about that. Or it's just amazing. Cool.
Yeah, and I mean, and Apple developed all its content from the ground up. It started with nothing as basically a brand new network, and now it has some of the highest rated shows in existence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody was saying, well, why is Apple getting into TV and movie development? Well, they've become a major, they've become a major studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Charlotte Henry's always trying to explain to me why the awards are important. I don't watch the award shows. I couldn't care less. I'm more interested though in just these kind of conversations. Where did you see this? Oh, I love this. Well, this one left me lukewarm, but it's worth watching. And so that's what it means to me. But yeah, I'm with you, Ben. I think that in some ways not having a back catalog is a strength because you're kind of therefore encouraging folks to go and see what the new thing is or what the new things are.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some great stuff out there.
Yeah. And I mean, there was a reason why Apple basically gave it away for the first couple of years, because they knew exactly what they were doing, what they were building with, and they weren't going to screw it all up by basically making people pay for nothing the first couple of years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then all the people saying, well, once Apple starts charging everyone, they're just going to lose their whole audience. Those people were wrong.
Disney Plus, sorry.
They got me. Yeah.
Yep. Also, with the award shows, it's not as much about the viewers as it is the talent. Trust me, every actor, director, producer, and writer is watching those award shows.
Oh, you're right. I mean, it's for Hollywood by Hollywood.
Yeah, it's a resume thing.
And let's not forget that with developing their own content, while they don't have the back catalog of Hulu or Netflix or Amazon, they also don't have the costs that like Disney Plus ended up having to pay for the Marvel franchise and the Star Wars franchise, all of this content that they imported in thinking that this was going to, increase their subscriber rates to the moon, which it did at first. And now they've been bleeding subscribers for like over a year now. People have seen all of the pre-made stuff that they wanted to see with Marvel and Star Wars and National Geographic and all the rest of that. And it's the catalog is just not that deep. If you've already seen a particular Marvel movie, chances are you don't need to see it again. And chances are you won't go see it again. Yeah. But people are rewatching a lot of Apple TV's content.
Yep. Translates to much lower prices too.
Yeah.
I mean, not only that, but most of the stuff Disney's putting out is addendum content. You have to see other Star Wars properties to know what's happening in these Star Wars properties.
And Boba Fett, which was just awful.
Yeah, the Marvel movies are so interconnected that basically the series act as a setup for a future movie. Why Disney has not really developed its own IP in this service, leaving that to Hulu.
This MacVoices Live panel is back next time to finish up our conversation about streaming media. This time we focus a little bit more on the Disney Hulu consolidation and what that means for the future, and also how sports is affecting the streaming media landscape and our own frustrations. That's next time on MacVoices. I'll see you then. As always, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, Consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.